Welcome back to the watch. How are we all? Good to see you, gentlemen, and good to see you, chat. We're back. We're back on.
Hello.
Aloha.
We're here, and you might have noticed in the title,
Royce, you're supposed to say howdy from Texas.
I'm not in Texas.
Oh, whatever.
I'm in Iowa, but I come from Colorado, so it's like, hey, what up? Like,
Hey, so I think I've just dived in. It's the Culture Crusade, like Mike mentioned. I think I like it. It works. It does the job. And we actually have quite a bit of things to cover this week. It's going to be fun because we are winning. Lots of wins this week. And, there's a discussion to be had about what that means, because it's not necessarily to say the fight is over, not by a long shot. So we'll be diving right into that. But before we do, we like to do our pre-ramble before the topics. Where we just talk about, a ramble before the main rambles, basically. And, if there's show and tell, things what we were doing in the week, what's been going on. Royce has an announcement, and he finally wants to come out of the closet and tell everyone that he's gay.
No, it's not that. No.
Don't spoil it, Shad.
I told you.
You know what's hilarious?
Let him have his big moment.
Did you notice that he didn't deny it? It's just, yes, it's true, but I'm not going to talk about that right now.
You just got to roll with it. It was supposed to be me. I was supposed to say it. You stole my thunder.
Now's your chance.
I have no thunder. No, because I have no thunder now. I can't.
Maybe next week.
Hey, we do have a Texan.
Back in the closet.
Terrell Briss of $2 says, howdy from Texas. I have y'all covered. Thank you, sir.
Oh, man. You're supposed to be me.
All right, go, Royce.
No, so actually, you want to talk about winning, and this is one of the things that I have won the most in life. This Friday, I am unbelievably happy to say that my wife and I have been together for 14 years. We've been married for 11 years, and she will also be turning 33 this Friday. And I want to give, I legitimately say this from the bottom of my heart. It has been the best part of my life. She has given me 4 amazing children. She has helped me grow into the man that I have become, which she may not want me to say that. But so to my lovely wife, thank you so much for these amazing 14 years, for our 4 beautiful babies, and to many more years to come. Cheers to you, my lovely wife. And thank you so much for everyone being here for that announcement.
Awesome.
So. You're going to cheers her with a bush light, though, really?
That's what she buys me. She's like, no. She's like, we've got finances. She's like, you can't get good beer. When I start making money, I can get good beer. That's what I've been told.
Good. I would do a soliloquy to my wife as well, but she's not going to watch the show. 28 years, 5 kids. 28 years married. We've actually known each other since 1988.
Nice, dude. Congratulations.
I kissed her for the first time on her 15th birthday.
Oh, this is getting very gay.
That's the opposite of gay.
Yeah, man,
I know. How can it be so base and so gay at the same time? What's going on here?
It's how the boys hang out, man.
The best things are.
Oh, you love her? Sounds gay. What the fuck?
That used to be the term when you started to get too sappy. Remember that? It's like,
Right? It's so good, dude. It's so freaking good, man. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that, Shad. I appreciate it, man. But
no, my pleasure, man. And congratulations. That's what matters in life, genuinely. So
what is best in life?
Exactly. What is best in life? Get married and have kids. That's
unironically, dude.
And heated lamentations every day.
Well, there's some truth to that. Kids are great. All right. So what's been happening this week? Well, I mean, Australia has been wanting to basically go full authoritarian, our government. That's been happening this week over here. I know.
I was
but it's even worse. I've got
Chad hasn't been reading the newspaper.
No. Like,
God.
it briefly, but because remember how the government was trying to push a misinformation bill? Did I mention that in the previous stream?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned that last week. Yeah.
Come out and being able to read what's in it, and it is insane. It is one of the most crazy authoritarian pieces of trash ever. Maybe I'll share some of the particulars towards the end of the stream. I'm sure people love hearing about Australian politics, but holy crap, it is bad, and it's a kind of a warning to. Well, I mean, it's happening in the UK, it's happening all over the place. So anyway, that's been on my mind recently. But other than that, kind of just normal general stuff. How about you, gentlemen? What's been going on in your lives? Mike, I hear your channel's still going well with your.
It is going well. I've been spending time actually. These videos are taking me longer and longer to make because it's like you see a success in a thing, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna put more effort into this, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is taking me 3 hours to do one video, and that's okay because man, this last video, every single video is doing better than the last. This last one was doing for the first. It took an hour and a half, and it got over 1,000 something views, and it's great. Like the algorithm loves me now, and finding that spot where you're just doing the grind. And I grant you, I've only been doing these videos for 2 weeks, so the grind hasn't been that long. But yeah, it's great, dude. I'm up to 9,673 subs now.
Awesome stuff.
So I can't wait to get to 10,000 and do a celebratory live stream. You're all invited.
Hey, we got a super chat from Captain Japanese Characters. Says, hey, Shad, try to have Metatron on as well in the chat in the future. We've had Metatron on in one of the previous streams, and it was awesome. Love Metatron, and he is welcome back.
He was
anytime.
editing. I think wasn't he editing while he was on stream too?
He needed to leave the stream somewhat early because he has a life and at work, and he has to get back to it.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. That was my stream. I was editing my video today. I get halfway through the video, and isn't Adobe supposed to self-save? Isn't it? It's supposed to. Just
Why are you working in Adobe? Oh my god,
bro! Because I'm on Premiere, and halfway through the video, Premiere freaking shuts down and erases all of my work. So I had to. It took me extra long to edit my video.
You've triggered it. You've triggered Royce before he has a stroke. We got a chat from Gemini.
It always auto-saves me when I use Adobe Premiere, especially when I make videos about how bad Cora is. It's
but you didn't watch the rest of the show.
Yeah, you took your bait. He took your bait. Look at
but you didn't want.
He was like,
I'm going to talk about something that I never finished. I can
Royce,
talk crap about
we got a super chat, Royce.
What?
Shut up. Quiet. We got a super chat.
By the way, this is why we're late, ladies and gentlemen, because Royce was just rambling behind the stream. I'm like,
hey, Gemini499 says, speaking of dictators, how does one reason with a modern day feminist? I had a wild encounter with a feminazi on a plane a couple of years ago.
What is this,
and
Pokemon?
The answer is no. It was just some random banshee, right? You can't reason with them. They are just like, that's their, moment to be their activist and to make a sacrifice to try and attack. She unironically attacked me for man-spreading, even though my legs were not past the range of my shoulders, right? But she was like, excuse me, you're man-spreading. And my response is, oh boy, you are barking up the wrong tree. Anyway, I want to reason with them, but it feels futile. Brainwashing works. Unfortunately, you could, and I didn't give her an inch. I was just like, yeah, this isn't going to work with me.
I don't have time to talk to you, woman. I've got to do man things.
and I even said, like, your life must be particularly, what did I say, privileged if this is the type of thing that oppresses you, right?
Thinking of that, I recently was reminded that there was once, back in 2018, an academic feminist journal that accepted Mein Kampf. Someone rewrote it as
I
heard
Peter,
that they rewrote it for intersectional feminism.
Oh my god, it was Peter. God, what is his name? That was brilliant. They wrote 27 studies. 27 that had to be like peer-reviewed studies, and out of like the 27 or something, they got 20 of them passed. Oh God, he was on the Joe Rogan. That was the most brilliant set of political trolling I've ever seen in my life.
It was like brilliant, and that it would spark so much needed and important conversations. It's like, oh man, and then it's all this stuff, and
that's not the only thing.
I want to go right off of that, what Litdev said, because I actually did a video a few years ago, and I took the 1939 Nazi political platform, and I replaced all of the Nazi with Democrat, and I pretended it was the new Democratic, and it read like Bernie Sanders had written it. It was
now send me money.
It's almost like there's nothing new under the sun.
I need a lake house. Send me
new
money.
labels.
All right. Also, like, not enough people know of like just how flawed academia is at the moment. Do you hear about that guy that made like a series of fake papers and submitted them for peer review?
That's what that's why I just was talking about.
Yeah,
he's the one that did the Mein Kampf thing too, I believe.
Okay, so
I think I could be crossing my wires here, but I'm pretty sure he was the same guy that did that, and he got 20 out of the 25 or something, or 27 or whatever it was. He got 20 of them into colleges, and it wasn't until it came out on social media that they finally took them down. And he was like, "It's this easy, guys."
It's insane. But he filled it with like all this stupid progressive woke propaganda, and that caused all these faux intellectuals to like engage. And some of the titles of those papers were, and the content, just abject nonsense, right?
The R culture, fill in the R word. The R culture of dog parks was my favorite. And they talked about how
You're talking about that. You could say it. It's the rape culture of dog parks.
Dude,
oh
my God. It was.
I'm like, which R word are we talking about?
Yeah, no, the bad dude. Oh my God. And they were reading through it, and I was like, you've got, and they got it through. They were like, this is the most incredible thing that we've ever seen. And oh my God. And he was like, we didn't think that we were, he's like, because peer-reviewed papers take like years to do. He's like, we did like 27 papers that we submitted for peer review. We got like 20 of them like passed. They were peer-reviewed. They thought they were great until it came out on social media. He actually, dude, he ended up doing, well, one of them, there was a pair of them. One of them ended up talking about all this on the Joe Rogan podcast years ago. Oh my God. It was, even Joe Rogan was like, you're freaking kidding me. Dude, It was hilarious.
And not enough people know of this. But like, if you're online a lot, you've probably heard of it. But there are so many like people who still have faith in academia and stuff like that, and they've never heard of this type of stuff, which just exposed the whole racket. And it shows like that experiment really shows how people who are activists, they just want anything that supports their ideology, doesn't matter how nonsense or ridiculous it is. If it supports the narrative, they like all on board, and they love using this kind of faux intellectual language where they want to complicate the language with like intersectionality and internalize misogyny and all this stuff to try and logic their way to justify their activism, to try and justify there's so much oppression in the world. And like the for instance, what was it called? Like rape culture on college campuses and stuff like that.
This video is completely demonetized. We've already said rape twice and Nazi once. Rape 3 times. Rape 4 times.
Don't just keep diving into
Shad
it, right?
The rape barrier. I was trying not to say it. Shad's the one that broke the rape barrier. Just let it be known.
By the way, the co-editor-in-chief of the journal said reviews are supportive of the work and noted its potential to generate important dialogue for social workers and feminist scholars. Very important. Very important dialogue being sparked by this.
Oh man, dude, it was so great.
Yeah. And so many of these claims have been like debunked over and over again. I mean, the gender wage gap, dialogue has been just thrown out by
I
any
think
credible economists. Like
the
for
gender
years
wage
now.
gap was debunked by feminists, like some
Yeah.
feminist economists went in there
And
saw-
yet they still say it.
Well, the logic was actually kind of hilarious when they like you called them out, or when they say women earn 70 cents to every dollar that men earn. And we're like, hang on, like where are you getting that figure? Well, we're just looking at all the wages. Hang on, you're taking the gross wages, I just men and women, and you're not taking into account the occupations they're working or the hours they are working or anything like that.
willingness to
They're like,
move.
willingness to move, like the time off is like,
or whether or not they're working on an oil rig, or in
right.
construction, or
Well, let's just be practically realistic about this. If you could pay women 70 cents on the dollar, you'd just hire women.
capitalism. They would just,
note
they
how
would just
greedy
cheaper people.
we talk about every day how greedy corporations are. We're like, they'll skim you here on video games or movies or whatever it is. They cut corners. And you'd mean to come tell me that if they could save like 30 cents per worker, they wouldn't do that?
They would.
Of course
Right?
they would.
Yep, 30% savings on wages.
Yeah.
That's account
And
to
then
a
hiring
really large chunk.
women illegal immigrants, man,
Mm.
it's like
And
free.
so, well, then the people would say, like, all right, what about how much do they earn, right? Like between men and women for the same job and same hours worked? Is there a gender wage gap? They're like, well, no, but men still earn more because
Actually, women have an edge in a lot of jobs.
Well,
They make
now
more.
actually it's going in the reverse. But then they would say, no, it's still sexist because men are hired in the higher paying jobs. And it's like, well, hang on, is that just because men are interested in those jobs? Like, what about what are they studying in university? Let's go to university and see what courses men and women are taking, which lead to different wages in the workforce. And it's like,
It's the same thing as they do with nerd culture. It's like, women are not playing D&D. It can't be because women are not interested in D&D in a huge capacity. It has to be because sexism has forced them out. So we have to change D&D or something, or change Star Wars, because women were kept out and gate kept out all these years, and now we have to make it safe for women to join. That's kind of what it is. It can't be the fact that they didn't like it or weren't interested by and far.
I heard and I heard who the hell did I come across? It was Shoe on Head. And she obviously is very, very liberal, but she has become a lot less liberal over the course of years. Actually, my wife knew her before she even was big. And she did a thing. She was like, yeah, all these women out there want talk about the wage gap, this, that, and the other thing, and how, they've been keeping us down. She's like, yeah, they've been keeping you down, but yet, funny enough, all the studies show that women have been choosing the same jobs for the last 100 years. How come you women don't choose the high-paying jobs?
Well, they want other women to take those jobs. Have you noticed the women
they want
saying
men
those
to
I've seen
identify
the
as
other
women to
women
take
that
those
take
jobs.
those jobs, and out of like the 10 women that take those jobs,
Wait, yeah, does it count,
most of
Royce?
them are
Royce, does
terrible
it
at
count if there's men identifying as women taking those jobs?
no, that
it depends which feminist you ask. That's
so-
the feminist civil war that's going on between the J.K. Rowlings and the rest of them. Basically.
So coming from the construction field, out of the women that were in my field, and that was utility installations, so natural gas and electric lines, digging the trenches, burying them. Most of the women who hired onto those jobs couldn't hang. However, there was one, and this is the exception to the rule, and I respect her. Dude, she could run a job site as good as the best men that I knew in the industry. But again, there was one, and it's because...
She's a manager?
No, she started out as a grunt and worked her way up to it. And she was not a manager hired off the street. She started out as a grunt, and she was in the field. So she was in the field as a foreman directing the crews, but she started out as a grunt, as a laborer. But she was just that one that just had that one personality type. She wasn't going to take any shit. She was going to work her ass off. She was going to feed her kids. And dude, I'm telling you right now, but again, one out of the...
How many? Like
10,
hundreds?
10, hundreds. Dude, and I only knew like 10 of them that were in the field, and none of them had climbed to her success or could run a job as successfully as she could. And these other women would bitch about certain stuff like, oh, well
see,
this, like, but again, it's a rare thing. But
well,
again,
here's the thing about that, Royce, is that like activists will see that and then try and use that as justification to say, see, women can do the job just as well as men, so there should be equal representation. And they don't see the reality is that no, it's just more exceptional and rare for a woman to actually have those qualities to want to do the job or even be able to perform, because especially in the physical fields, right? Like women aren't as strong as men. There's the occasional woman who's, you know,
there's always going to be outliers.
Exactly.
Oh, there's always, but the outliers are not the rule; they're the exception.
Right.
Yeah,
And
but the activists
women
want to
have
take
seen-
that as proof that, see, women can do it just as well as men. And it's like, no. Of course, men and women are different. And this goes in reverse as well. There are things that men can't do nearly as well as women, and that there are occupations that, you know, women occupy far more than men, which
Women
feminists
give birth
never complain
far
about or
better
wanted
than men.
equality in those, right? You know, look at the modeling industry. Like, models are paid way more than men, but female models I'm talking about. But, you know, did the feminists ever want equality there? It's like, no, because they don't want
quality
equality.
garbage pick collectors or something. But,
Yeah, right.
women I've seen shout about it most have all went into like all the women I've seen shout about it most have all gone into like art. They all work at like Marvel Comics or Hollywood.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's like they're like, well, in this industry, we're just not paid that much. It's like, okay, well, why don't you put a set of work boots on and a set of regular blue collar jeans and a work shirt and go out and actually earn some money? Because I'm here to tell you right now, I've worked in the natural gas and oil field. There's money to be made, and they go, well, we don't want to work. Well, then fuck you. If you don't want to work for the money, don't get the money.
This
Like-
is a family show, Royce.
Yeah, you're talking
Sorry,
about
dude. I'm not getting
the
dude, I'm a
R word
construction
and
worker. Like, what do
and
you
all this stuff. Like
If you're a good Catholic boy, you know better.
I am a Catholic boy. Good is a strong word, Mike. Good is a very. I didn't know we were using that kind of language here, Mike. Holy shit.
Oh man, there are paths I could go down in that conversation, and I'm holding back. So, the title of this stream is "We Are Winning" because we've been having a lot of wins, and especially this week, right? And we're going to talk about some of them. Let's bring up, I guess, one really interesting one that's come out recently, and this is. Geeks and Gamer reporting that Inside Out 2 required edits to avoid LGBTQ themes. The edits included making the main character Riley appear less gay, as well as putting special care into making the relationship between Riley and Val seem platonic as possible. A source described it as just doing a lot of extra work to make sure that no one would potentially see them as not straight. This is interesting.
And the movie made a lot of money. The movie was a
The
success.
movie made a lot of money.
I just
lot of money.
All you gotta do is say no. It turns out.
How about just a wild thought? This is crazy thought, guys. Crazy. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this. Probably not. This is totally new. It's a thought that I've been working on for many years, contemplating it. But how about children just watch movies about children being children? How about, just a wild thought here, we keep gay relatips and even, you know, straight relationships out of
Like anything overly sexualized.
Yeah,
out
like
of
I'm just throwing it out there, like just
Everybody's just being friends.
yeah. How about
I'm
just
sorry,
being
but that is
friends?
not what the program is, Royce. We've got to put the gay stuff in all the children's entertainment.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
but okay, hey, if we're equal opportunity, why don't we put the straight stuff there too? Oh, wait a minute. No, let's not fucking do that. They're kids. Let's keep that stuff away.
there is a difference between like a straight kiss and a gay kiss in children's media, because children understand the default. They're brought up,
Yes.
you know, most of them mum and dad and stuff like that, and no questions are going to be raised with, you know, Belle kissing the prince at the end of the film, right? But anything outside of kind of the normal standard sexual relationship that society has, right? It's the parents' responsibility to teach the kids about that, not for Disney to force the issue by shoving it in front of their face. That is Disney saying they want to raise your kids and tell them when they think these things should be introduced to them. And parents are like, get stuffed, Disney. That's not your role.
Here is something that my wife and I are dealing with currently with our 12-year-old. Our 12-year-old is not interested in boys, not interested in girls. Actually, funny enough, has told us she thinks that that's weird, which is good, based. But yeah.
But hang on, jumping on that, a lot of kids just think like any relationship stuff is icky.
Exactly.
Where did
That's what you're supposed to be when you're a kid.
No, but that leads into what I'm saying. Unless it's pushed on them. My daughter has walked away from other girls who are her age because at 11 and 12 years old, they are saying some things about boys that 11 and 12-year-old girls should not be saying. Now, admittedly, boys should not be saying that at 11 and 12 years old, right? Now, we in our household have a thing of like, if you're dating, you're trying to find the person that you're going to marry and be with for the rest of your life. Because I don't know, that's the purpose of fucking dating. I don't know. That's just what it is.
It is.
But even in our small town, the infection, these are people who have no idea about the culture war. I have had parents look at me and they'd be like, oh, they have a girlfriend. It's so adorable at 12 years old. And I'm like, no, dude, this infection spreads far and wide beyond entertainment. And parents across America are not paying attention. They don't care. And some of them think it's fucking cute. And that is terrifying. And that is the thing that it not just talking about in entertainment, but that's the thing that we need that's the message that we need to
children.
I do.
Well, pay attention to what's being taught in
telling
school.
everyone else.
Oh no. I'm told, Shad, I'm told, no, our schools are different here, this, that, and the other thing. And I look at their little brats and I'm like, no, your schools aren't different. I see what they're saying. Our kids come up to us and they're like, hey, mom, dad, this person said something today about being bi. What the hell is that? My kids have no idea what that. These are 11 and 12-year-olds. They are teaching it in the schools and the parents don't care. In fact, every summer when the kids are out of school, we hear parents go, oh my God, my kids are out of school. I just don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, bitch, you're at work for 8 hours a day. You're not even around your kids. You're around your kids for what, 3-4 hours a day in the summertime? And that's a problem for you? Why did you have kids? I'm sorry. I think people had kids. Dude, I could rant on this for hours.
But there's a couple of things that I kind of want to jump on. About like for instance, the school stuff is interesting because it really depends on where. And some of the schools here in Australia, America seems pretty bad, and some of the schools in Australia are really far gone. And so I've been very hypersensitive about what's been going on with the schools my kids are going to. And I'm like, they had this initiative, they called it the Respectful Relationships kind of curriculum, right, that they were trying to push into the primary school. And there was a parents meeting on it, so I attended that parents meeting, and oh man, I wish I recorded it, because like I just flat out, because they were trying to push girls should be able to do any job in the world and stuff like that, and it's wrong to tell basically share that most firefighters are men. And I was like, hang on, why is that wrong? Why is that actually? I triggered the conversation because it's like, this is just acknowledging reality, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And there were parents who were not, as I guess confident in speaking up. But when I spoke up, they were like, I'm 100% with this guy who's speaking for me and stuff. And that put the teachers,
the truth outlawed here?
Right. Well, that put the teachers. They suddenly realized, holy crap, this could get really bad if we start pushing this too much. And some of the other teachers,
stand up.
Right, exactly. And so one of the other teachers, I feel, agreed with me, and that stuff didn't go very far in the school. As a result, it seemed like the other side is like, which school? Because then when my kids leaving primary school, going to high school, all right, just look into the high schools. Found a good Catholic school that seems like shared values and stuff like that. That's where our kids are going to at the moment. But you have to pay attention, because some of them are real bad.
Dude. It is.
I think the lesson here is that all you have to do to fight this stuff is say no. And that's kind of a lot the root cause of a lot of wins recently. Is that Black Myth Wukong said no, broke records. Inside Out 2 said no, made a lot of money.
Like Inside Out 2 is particularly interesting on this topic,
love
right?
the first movie. Unironically, the first movie is probably one of the best Disney. I have not seen the second one.
I haven't seen the second one yet, but I think I want to just to see. It did really well at the box office, and I heard it is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Dude,
Jeremy Geeks and Gamers said it was a pretty good film. And what's interesting about this, right? It seems like not necessarily Disney, but maybe Pixar learnt a lesson from Lightyear. They blame Lightyear's failure on that inclusion.
Is this confirmed or just reported, or like
it's reported? It's reported. This is what they rumors
Okay,
saying.
so we're not. Because I saw that and I was like, I didn't dig in too deep into the articles, but based on what I could see, it wasn't like 100%. But I mean, if this really is the case, I mean, at the very least, we can call it a win that they're going to stop, hopefully pushing sexualization onto children.
Well, this should not be this shouldn't be a shocking thing, right? The logic seems, and I've been saying this for a while. When Lightyear came out, I made a video on Night's Watch talking about this stuff, saying that the parents, no, they're going to have an issue with this. It's not Disney's responsibility to introduce these themes to kids, right? And of course, the activists, they lost their brains at this, and and they always go back to that video trying to attack me whenever something comes up. Yet that video is 100% validated and proven right by this, because guess what? This is the shocking thing, and it shouldn't be controversial, right? But most people in the world happen to be straight. Is this a shocking revelation to you guys that most people don't happen to be straight?
I've never heard that before.
Based on the
straight people have been keeping the species going for the last million.
I was going to say, based on the fact that there's people here, that there's people here that I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Birth rates are the reason that we're here, and birth rates don't come from gay people. Just throwing it out there.
Well, this is a controversial statement. Every gay relationship is by definition sterile. Like that. That's the baseline of a homosexual relationship. And people say, like, is that a criticism? That's just a statement of fact. I'm sorry if that upsets you, right? But also,
nobody believes the biology, Shad.
No one believes
biology is now a fiction.
Right. So, shame on me for wanting the human race to flourish as optimally as possible. And that I think, straight relationships are good for the human race. Sure. Shoot me for that, I guess.
Shad,
how dare I?
If everybody's gay, the human race will be fine. It's fine.
I think the human race could continue, but in a much more difficult process
for like 50 years.
But here's the thing: like, most people are straight, so the logic isn't this. Like, I find it hilarious that activists
not most
can't
people,
understand
an
this logic.
overwhelming majority based on statistics and medical data.
Yeah, nearly all people are straight. Literally, nearly
98% of everybody. If we factor in even the false reporting, we're at like 98%. If we factor in medical data, we're legitimately at like 99.7% of all people on the planet are straight.
Yeah. And then let's go with this logic. I know this logic is difficult for activists, right? And they get so offended when you just point out this logic. Like, as a result of most people in the world being straight, right? Most people, therefore, are not interested in seeing homosexual sexuality depicted in front of them. They're not into gay stuff. That's just the reality. And in actual fact, they get turned off on it. Guys,
I've seen some websites in my day.
Well, most guys, when they see two guys kiss, just like, that's their
but most guys, when they see, never mind. I'm not.
The opposite, like, because most guys are attracted to women, and
I'm sorry.
What's better than one Mars bar, two
joke.
Mars bars? No, we know.
That's why all of this is programmed grooming. They're trying to. It's just like when you show kids pornography, you mess them up psychologically. You mess up their sexual desires even into later life, right? This is the same thing you do when you try to force gay imagery on children. You normalize that. You try to remove that natural revulsion to same-sex.
So there is a bit of a
Can
theory
can
that
I
underpins
share
that. In a sec.
something personal?
In a
Okay,
sec, because
cool.
we have a super chat from Alexander Cross for $5. Says, I can't stay long. Got to work late today. Have some geld for the war chest. Keep up the good work and stay on watch. Thank you, Alexander Cross. We appreciate you. And thank you for being a regular here on the watch. All right, Royce, you got 30 seconds.
All right, we're going to get, oh shit, I can't get that personal in 30 seconds. No, but this is something that is legitimate. So, going back into my wife, our relationship. So believe it or not, my wife, since she was a very, very little girl, found girls pretty and boys handsome. She's that way. When she met me, that disappeared over the course of years, right? My wife has a very colored history. We met when we were 19. There's a long story there to get into. She looked at me and months ago, and she would obviously believe this in a while, and she goes, if they push any of this crap on our kids, she goes, I don't want our kids to be pushed into liking the same sex, doing any of that. She goes, she's like, and she looks at me and she goes, if for some reason
She looked at you and she went, oh, boys can be pretty too.
yeah, well, fuck off. I am pretty. What of it? What of it, Mike? What, you got a problem with pretty boys?
Oh,
Thank you for calling me pretty, by the way. I appreciate that insult. Anyway, but seeing everything, she's like, this is highly disturbing. And she's like, I am so glad this wasn't around when I was a kid. She's like, because the fact that they are trying to push this on kids, and my wife, when I met her, she was like, yeah, no, like the LGBTQ community, this, that, and the other thing, whatever, it's fine. And now she's just like, keep that shit away from my kids. It's fucking disturbing. No. Like, again, because even when she was younger, and like I said, it's...
I was identified.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. But again, it is something that people don't realize, that even people who believed in this stuff, even people who saw it, who walked that life, are now realizing, holy crap, this is terrible for our children.
This is such a, like, it's not a conspiracy theory at this point, because they have admitted it, right? Once upon a time, they would say, you're just born this way. You can't do anything about it. But then they've come out with statements like this, because if they thought you couldn't influence people to modify their sexuality and stuff like that, they wouldn't be pushing it so hard in media. And there are multiple accounts and statements. Like, listen to this. Do you know, this is from a woman named Judith Butler, who is considered the godmother of queer theory. Okay, listen to what she says here.
I've never seen this.
Can you hear this? Is that audio coming through?
Yeah. Back it up. Play it from the beginning.
Yep.
Where I was identified as representing gender ideology and a threat to children. My work would indoctrinate them, or my work would license pedophilia, or my work and the work of gender more broadly would teach them how to become homosexual, or teach them that they must become homosexual. Which is
kind of true.
Kind of wild.
Kind of true. She said the quiet part out loud.
Even the P word, right? It's like my work would influence people to be that as well as gay. That is like, then they're like, yeah, that is what your work is. Look at Royce. Royce is just like deer in headlights. You haven't seen that one, have you, Royce? Like,
no, they're
evil. It's just evil.
No, so there was, and it was some screenshot post, and I don't trust a lot of them. It was like last week, but this person was basically like, they were like, it was some child harmer. I'll say that. That's just what I'm gonna say. But you can scroll through my tweets on Twitter and you can find it. But I reposted this thing, and this person was like, anybody who's trying to push, like anti-child harm bills, and they're anti-trans, this, that, and the other thing. And I quoted it, And I because the only thing that I could say was like, this person's trying to say that Epstein was trans. F these, because essentially, if that person is saying that child harm in that way is okay, they're saying that Epstein was okay. That was the point of the tweet. And I'm like, F these people. Like, they need to be wood chippered. And I'm just there. Dude, it is absolutely insane that and I should know this, especially working in the field that I do now. People who are bad will tell you that they're bad. And then they'll tell you, no, but like everybody's like this, okay? Have you ever met somebody like that? Like, let's just take it to a minor thing, right? Mike knows okay, you thought of a person, whether it was they were telling small lies or they'd steal a little something from a thing or the people that are like, they're bad people, like they normalize that internally and they'll look at you and they go, no, but like you do the thing too, right? Like you do it too.
No, you just reminded me of a tweet that has gone probably viral. I've seen it a few times where some dude says, trust me, all men are bisexual. And like 99% of the men out there are like,
No.
bro.
They do that. They want to try and shift what is and actually change people's, preferences.
I've had conversations with people and they go, well, everybody lies online. I'm like, no, they don't. Well, yeah, no, you totally
usually,
lied on. No,
what you're talking about, they want to validate their own lifestyles by making everyone conform. Like, listen, and you've probably seen this one. This one was a much more famous one, but it's another face-off, mask off, I should say, moment where they say the quiet part out loud.
No, it's over, Ina. It's over. Like,
oh my God, I remember.
If I were to have a boy, we better pray to God that he's gay. We better start indoctrinating him day one. We have to either make him trans or make him gay. We are not having a cisgender straight son.
Like that. I've done videos on this, but this is like indoctrinate them day one to make them.
I remember comedians out there, and they would joke that people would come up and like, I was like, well, what if your son's gay? And they're like, what if he is? They're like, yeah, what if he is? But they never said anything about forcing it onto him. That is psychotic.
This is what's happening.
That is psychotic.
But it's like all the stuff we were warning about 20 and 30 years ago is all coming true when we were called crazy for saying it would happen.
Yeah, when we were like, yeah, no, guess what? If we normalize, homosexual marriage, it's all going to turn into pedophilia, and it did.
It's so bizarre, right? Because like I have friends that are gay. Doesn't mean anything to me. It's like it doesn't affect my regard to them at all, everything like that. My issue is trying to put this stuff in front of impressionable kids, and they know they're impressionable. That's why they want to put it in kids' media. That's why there's been a pushback against it. And that's interesting. That guess what, parents, they're not going to have a bar of it. And it gets rejected. And when they finally kind of get the message and decide, all right, maybe this stuff isn't actually that popular, like this mythical modern audience that they've been pursuing doesn't actually exist. Look at that. They make a normal show or normal movie with normal themes, right? And it does really well. Now, it's not a universal absolute, but I think there's a reason why. Did you hear about that movie Bros, which was the gay romance rom-com?
Legitimately,
there's a reason why that bombed.
I covered my kids' eyes from the poster hanging in the movie theater. We don't go to the movie theater very often because we're on a tight budget. I cover my kids' eyes. I was like, yeah, we need to not. And even my wife was like, what in the hell is this? There's children in here.
I think even gay men hated that movie. Like I saw one guy goes like, "No, I just hate this movie. I'm not homophobic." Because I saw one guy say, "I'm not homophobic because I'd rather suck a dick than watch this movie."
Everybody's got their pastime, right? Anyway, dude, but it is, dude. One of the greatest things that I heard from a non-political like gaming review channel. Do you guys know Bellular News? Have you ever watched Bellular News at all? Been watching him for years. So. He's fantastic. He's a large channel on YouTube. Bellular News is fantastic. They're a gaming news channel. And they were covering the Concord situation. And he was like, now, when you're in gaming, you can't avoid the culture war. And these are channels that do avoid the culture war stuff. And he's like, and I've talked, because they were talking about Concord, and he's like, I've talked with all of my LGBTQ friends and stuff like that. And he goes, guess what? He goes, gay people like attractive people too, and that's why they didn't want to play Concord. It's like, dude, that was the most base take I've ever heard. I was like, gay people like people that look good, and I'm like, Bellular. It's just those little nuggets, even from channels that they're not like us. They don't want to cover it. They just want to cover the business. They want to cover the sales. They want to cover the gameplay. But this stuff is seeped into it. And he was like, yeah. He's like, and he straight up said it. He's like, gay people like attractive people too, and that's why Concord didn't sell well. And I was like, yeah, it's true. I mean,
that's such a bonkers kind of area.
It's the woke people that don't like attractive people.
Well, you know
because
why?
They're not fucking people. Sorry.
Well, no, because they want to feel represented. They want to be attractive without making themselves look attractive. They say they want to be validated and they want to put themselves in the thing. And so,
they purposefully make themselves ugly.
They seem to do that as well. It's like, and then like, you know, they go out of their way to go to the extremes, like make them, you know, they got weird piercings, colored hair, overweight, and they don't do no efforts to make themselves conventionally, and they could put in effort, right? But they put in effort the opposite way, and then they attack you if you say you don't find them attractive. And there's like, well, you're just a misogynist bigot. And it's like, hang on, I thought you're allowed to be attracted to what you're attracted to. Isn't that like, you know, the way you were born? But no, then they're like, well, you better, you know, be attracted to.
Can I say something pretty radical? I've said it on my channel, but I'm too small, but I just.
It depends how edgy. It's not going to get us.
I don't. No, it's not. There's no cuss words or anything.
Any uses of the N-word in there or something?
No, we might need a minute.
The R word.
I don't say the R word on YouTube.
All the R words.
Put it in the private chat and we'll see.
It's not that bad, but I just want to make sure it's cool to say on your channel.
We'll check in the private chat and I'll check. But
you check that. But I think
this chat like $4.99 from Davish for hail, folks. Busy wrapping up a shift at work. Have a cold one on me, legend. And man, thank you so much for coming to join us on the watch to unwind here on the Culture Crusade. And we got another one from Ad Victorium. Says, hey, Shad, as a D-trans person, I know how harmful the gender cult is. I made the biggest mistake of my life as an adult. If I, as an adult, could be confused, just imagine how bad this is for kids, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, man, I'm so sorry. I know I've had no, you know, effect on that, but the people who were encouraging you to do that, like the detransition stories are heartbreaking.
I can't watch them. I can't.
I
can't.
They're rough.
Yeah.
So, man, thank you for the super chat, and my heart goes out for you, mate. That's rough. That is real rough.
Hey, 80 Victorium, you got people here, man. We got your back. We got your back. Okay.
So, all right, Royce, that's an interesting comment. It might spark a conversation. So go on, say it,
and I said this on my channel. I'd have to find the live stream is a long time back, but it was sparked from the chat, and it was, I don't think these people, the trans people, I don't think they want to be man or woman because they keep identifying themselves as trans, and it's somewhere in
instead
between.
Of just a man.
But it's never. They're trans. They're never going all the way, right? They don't. That it used to be that
there's some that will not get the surgeries, but they want the label.
Yeah, and the thing is I genuinely believe, and this gets a little bit more, that they haven't done anything in their lives that's would get them any recognition from anybody else, sadly. And so the only thing that they can do is to try and identify as something other than human. And that's
I
where
mean-
that's where you got these people that were like, oh, I identify as like a lizard folk, or and I say this seriously. It sounds funny. I identify as a fairy folk. I identify, and it is because they have that they to them they literally feel that they are not they can't be recognized in this online world as anything special unless they are trying to become something other than man or woman or even human in some instances. And it is, I think
Yeah,
that
that's
it
the weirdest
is
one.
I think that it is absolutely a mental disease, but
Oh yeah.
but and again, these are just the people who feel it naturally. Let's not even go to the people who, but I think it is a mental disability, and there are people that just fall into it because it's like, I need to be special.
Like
To
they
the
want
Up until
world,
5
some
minutes
type
ago,
of
it's always been considered
validation or
intent
intent or
Always.
attention or something that makes them distinct, to be noticed. And sometimes this can be to get credit for being some type of victim, or claim some type of oppressed status or minority status, to then mention that and to make them stand out. And I absolutely think that there's actually a wide group of people that fall into that. I think there are some people who genuinely are confused, like genuinely are confused, and they're not doing it for any type of validations and things. But to say it's all one or the other, no, clearly there's people who are doing this for multiple different reasons. Yeah.
And I would say there's no hard line. Again, going back to kind of what we said earlier, is like, oh, you're either born with it or you choose it. No, a small percentage of people are born with chemical imbalances. And they are, from the day they are born, because of chemical imbalances, however they formed in the womb, they're gay because of chemical imbalances. There are some people that become gay, sadly, because of abuse. And then there are other people who become gay or whatever because
of what they're
sadly,
shown
because
growing
of peer
up.
pressure, because of peer pressure, and because of what they're shown growing up.
Well,
again,
they admit this. They admit that can influence people. Like, they literally say we can, indoctrinate them to, like, I showed the clip before, right? And so this is the reality. This is all coming out, like, in terms of being debunked and exposed. Yet there are, like, we just saw the article talking about Pixar, that Inside Out kind of, they realized that us putting this stuff into Buzz Lightyear wasn't really working out, and proving the video that I made correct.
Yeah, that's something I was going to say. Remember the good old days when Disney would sort of subvert and hide the gay people, like in Frozen, or it's like it's just the bathtub scene and you got to open the door real quick and you notice there's two men in the bathtub and that's it.
What? In Frozen?
You don't remember in Frozen when they go to that little shack where the, with the family.
Nope.
See,
no, I don't remember.
because it was a subconscious thing. You had this family. The man was outside, and the wife inside was another man in the bathtub, in the hot tub with all the kids.
Well, I mean, Disney's been putting. Do we all remember? We all remember the penis on the cover art for Little Mermaid, right? We all remember the
now
penis
they just do it right out.
Like,
but the Rescue is Down Under. I'm not sure if that was Disney or not, but they had a tiny frame of porn in the Rescue is Down Under. Of like
a tiny what?
Porn, like a tiny frame of porn.
I've heard that some like rumors of like single frames of something.
Dude, it was on the cover art for Little Mermaid. You guys remember? You don't know that one, right?
Yeah. Do you remember? Have you seen the cartoon? Oh my gosh, it was so bad. There's a cartoon of like Mickey Mouse putting holes in cheese with his unit.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, this is getting into the weeds. But,
dude, here's the thing: it has always been there in mainstream entertainment. It was just hidden. Again, and I won't say that. It's got to do with agendas and certain years, and I'm not going to get into that. But it's bottom line, it's a demoralization tactic used against the population to make you think that you are losing the ability of morality, to think that the rest of the world is not doesn't believe in the morality that you do. That is all this is. And the fact of the matter is it's not true. However, on the flip side of that, even though people may believe in the same morality as you, most people may not be as vigilant as you. They may still trust the schools. They may still trust the YouTubers. They may still trust the entertainers. And that's the problem, is that that's what all of this is designed to do.
Hollywood has been degenerate for ages. The thing is, though, it was behind, the scene. It was off screen where the casting couch has been around. Marilyn Monroe even talked about the casting couch and stuff like that, which is basically exchanging favors for roles. Let's put it that way, right?
Favors.
Okay. Yet the stuff that they made was still really wholesome for the most part. Like back in the day, Hollywood, even though Hollywood has been degenerate from the beginning, they still knew the audience and culture. What, Mike? I'm not sure if we can show that. Mike.
It's a Mickey Mouse cartoon. How could you not know it?
Margie Chan for $5 says, "Hail to the indie YouTubers! It's always a pleasure to see Mike, Royce, Shad, and Lit Dev hanging together." Thank you, Margie Chan, legend. Is this an actual Disney-made thing?
Mm-hmm.
It has been crazy stuff back then.
We
yeah.
might, like 2 seconds. 2 seconds. You got
2 seconds. All right.
All right. What the hell is that? Is that like so? Is that truly Disney, or did someone else make that to parody him?
It's Mickey's boner.
Yeah.
Really?
Dude,
it's masculine and virile. You should like
God,
like
I gotta find this now.
Look, remember when Donald Duck was a Nazi?
Yes, that's a great video.
Well, there is the kind of idea that back in the day they didn't have certain I guess sensitivities, you could say, and there was some edgy stuff that they would put in that old stuff as well. Lady Trinan for $5 says, "I looked up the Frozen sauna scene. It looks like there's an adult woman in there. Big guy you think is the wife is probably the eldest son." I would need to rewatch it. I don't know, but hey, thank you for the super chat. But in terms of Hollywood hiding stuff, they do that. But usually back in the day they kept it behind the scenes, right? Because they knew the audience. Now, instead of making stuff for the audience, they want to change the audience. And then if you don't like it, shame you, saying you're just a bigot if you don't like it. Therefore, you must like it, or you're a bad person. So Mike wants to play
it. He's got different color hair than everyone else in the family, and 5 o'clock shadow.
All right, so Mike's theory is that this is the guy's side piece.
The rest of these are kids.
I don't know. I'll let people decide for themselves. I wouldn't put it past Disney though, honestly. Like it's Disney.
I know, especially with that Swiss cheese bit.
All right. Well, Disney nowadays, they just are coming out like in more ways than one, doing this. Where what did they say about the Acolyte? Lit Dev, you remember this? The Acolyte was the something in Star Wars that was the more than they've ever done before.
Oh, the horniest, right?
Oh, yeah, and also they called it the
there
gay.
were so many articles on how horny it was, and how that was a good thing.
Right, and also the gayest Star Wars ever.
Like, yeah, that's it. Gayest Star Wars.
The gayest
Star
Star
Wars. Go hand in hand.
ever.
A lot of times I've seen in modern day mainstream stuff. It's like gay and horny. That's it. Everything's gay and horny.
Right. So that didn't work out well for Acolyte, because we went through the logic just before. Most people are straight. So it's a bold strategy that let's see how that works out for him.
It's a bold
Didn't work
strategy,
out very well.
I was gonna say it's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, right.
Well, it works out for him.
Let's hear what they say about the Acolyte. Though, look, I think this is the reporter trying to get a soundbite, but this is Agatha. The new. If you don't know what Acolyte is, you're a normal person.
I've heard gay space witches. I'm gonna be honest. As a young man, I've seen that movie. I don't need to see it again.
It's a spin-off of a spin-off that no one is interested in. Like Agatha was such an annoying character in the One Division TV show, right? And that was a crap show. And
Harkness was a totally
I
different-
could
never
not
mind.
believe they're actually making a series of this on Disney Plus, but it's coming out this week, in a day or so.
I know. You
Oh,
know what?
wow.
You
The
sent me
trailer,
that thing
it's like-
last night, and I thought it might have been out, so I went to go look at it, and I saw like the trailer, and they're saying in the trailer they're saying Agatha was so popular, we got all these letters from people wanting to see a show about her. I'm like,
No, you didn't.
yeah, right.
What a bunch of lying scumbags!
And
Like,
then everybody
genuinely.
Like, everybody clapped.
Oh, how could
Dude.
they be so blatantly dishonest? But they're like that all the time. They just lie all the time about this stuff, and all to try and make this false sense of interest. Oh, everyone else is interested in it. That means you want to watch it, right? It's like, gosh,
Well, yeah, it's a
one.
demoralization tactic. They're using entertainment to try to tell you that the world is not, in fact, the way that you think the world is. And I honestly, I need to deep dive on this one day, but I think that most of this stuff is actually designed to be a distraction from what's actually going on with, the UN and US and government politics. I
think it's involved and related. Like,
I-
I think the distraction point has something to say,
well-
but I think it's actually very involved with a larger plan.
As somebody who looks at a
that they
lot
wanted.
of this stuff, and I'm like, man, boy, they're ticking a lot of boxes from like the whole New World Order shtick. That's I'm like, I think it's a shtick to get people to focus on something else. It's like, oh, hey, look what this hand is doing, while this hand is doing something really, really bad. Like
I don't know. I think it's related though, because like you've touched on stuff that I was wondering about going into, but the conversation has naturally veered in that direction already about why they're
Wait, this
doing
is
this.
natural.
The natural flow of conversation, or Royce just taking a left turn all the time and derailing the conversation.
Dude, I'm like fucking NASCAR. I will take that left turn.
So the question is like, why are they doing it? Why are they so interested in putting this stuff in front of kids? And they'll try and say it's for representation and all that stuff. It's like, no, it's actually not. Like my kids know, perfectly
demonic.
fine that gay people are in the world and they don't have an issue and stuff like that. They don't need to push this. And actually, like, the mask off, it's not about representation. They actually want people to adopt these lifestyles.
Depopulation.
We've shown the clips. Stop jumping ahead, Bruce.
I didn't
We've
jump
shown
ahead.
the clips. We've shown the clips of them. This is their intent. They actually want people to adopt these lifestyles, and they're trying to influence them to a point where people will change their lifestyle to it. And they do believe it can be indoctrinated. They have said it, that that's their intent. And then the question comes up with why? And the fact that large organizations like BlackRock and the World Economic Forum and stuff are so pushing for, this thing that they want this representation in media, and that they will financially incentivize companies for doing it. And yet a really big kind of thing that they fear is population. They are worried about
It's anti-human.
Nope.
They are worried about global
do,
population growth.
Do you know why they don't like global population?
Because they're anti-human.
Because the more people that there are, the more people that can take stuff away from them. They are pushing for a modern day feudal system where the wealthy people and the politicians own the land and they rent everything to you. Ergo, why BlackRock started buying up brand new housing developments a few years ago, but way over market value, and then turning entire brand new suburban housing developments in the US into rental properties. Because land is wealth.
Yeah, I just think
Land
it's deeper and more nefarious than that. I think it is anti-human, and at its core, I believe it's demonic.
Well,
from my religious
perspective, but I'm
perspective,
sorry. What is money the root of? What is the money the root of?
All
Well,
kinds of evil.
Yeah,
Well,
there you go. I don't disagree with you.
And it's
But
not
let me
money.
jump on- let me
It's the
just jump on
love
that.
of money.
Well,
let me
yes, the
just
love
kind
of
of
money.
jump, from a religious perspective. I'm kind of like, I think this is fulfillment of prophecy of the last days, and so I think this is part, but even if people aren't religious, it is a very anti-human. When we say anti-human, we're talking about what are the traditional kind of relationships that humanity needs to flourish. It's the nuclear family.
Biological
It's
truth.
it's the regular traditional family
Well,
that
but they-
needs to be promoted and
and-
upheld, and that seems to be the main thing. Like so many of these initiatives ultimately come back into trying to undermine
Do-
the traditional family,
Do you
the
want to know
family
the
structure.
scary part? You want to know the scary part? We're
Well, go on.
already seeing the end stages of their goal. The repopulation rate in the U.S. has dramatically decreased.
Oh, it's worse in Europe.
It started.
It's so bad in Europe.
All of this started. You go all the way. I mean, well, this actually started 100 years ago, but let's go to the one where most people will recognize it. Normalizing divorce. Just ruining the family unit back in the 1960s. The sexual revolution at that time, where they turned sex from an actual means of procreation to develop the next generation into something that was fun and flippant and not your duty as a human being or as a good citizen of society.
What happened the decade before that, Royce?
In the 50s?
1953. What did they take
Ooh.
out of the schools?
Religion.
The Bible.
The Bible. Well,
The schools in
was-
this country were built on teaching the Bible. That's
no, they
how
weren't. They were built on the
schools started.
Rockefellers and the Carnegies. I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
No,
All right,
bullshit.
gentlemen.
Go back and look at the
Houses-
federally funded
this-
school
Gentlemen,
system.
Go-
Wait,
I'm not talking about federally funded. I'm talking about the pilgrims, the people who founded this
Oh,
country.
you're talking about.
The
Oh, okay.
school-
I'm sorry. I thought you were
All
talking.
right.
Okay, no. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, no.
Gentlemen,
Okay, that
get it
school, not
interrupt.
the other one.
get interrupted. Grab these super chats.
haven't
Gemini
read
for
one
$4.99
I was
says,
talking. You didn't even let me read it.
"What? You want to read it? Go."
No, you said the rule 2 weeks ago. You said the rule.
Yeah, but
is
we
if
weren't
you-
really following the rule last week, and so I was like, "Fine, I'll just wing it."
Royce, just
you
read
guys
the damn
weren't
super
following
chat.
the rule.
Gemini for $4.99. You think them pushing this crap intentionally or unintentionally causes people to not like these groups? I think that most people have no idea about it. 50% of the people that see it will go against it, and 50% of the people will 70% of people don't care about it. The rest of them, most will be driven against it, and the other 15% will absolutely fall for it. You
Well,
can
here's
see
the problem.
it's modern day propaganda. That's how it
The
always
majority
works.
of people are sheep, and they will follow and they will just listen to whatever the propaganda is, whatever they think the culture is saying is right. They will just do what there's a reason why, the people didn't rise up and fight against the Nazis.
I
Right?
mean,
And it
it's
wasn't
called
just because they didn't have guns. It was because
it's
they
called
just
herd
follow
mentality.
around. Yeah.
It's called herd mentality, which is an actual ingrained biological defense mechanism that people have, where if you conform to the group, you're usually protected by the group. And so back when we were in tribal
That's
units and stuff like
bad.
that, yep, and that's what sheep does. All right.
Hey now.
And the thing is, it can happen, and when in fact it often happens without people realizing it. They just think this is what society upholds. I'm going to uphold it because that is what is good and right, and therefore I'm a good person for doing it. Not actually thinking about the real underlying ethics of what's going on. And yeah, this is how normal people got sucked into Nazi ideology during World War II, and regular guys that were just normal people ended up dragging pregnant women in the middle of the snow and shooting them in the back of the head. Right? Like it is just
What?
It happens.
And
And the
what's
thing is,
so-
if
what's
you
so-
think it can't happen to you, guess again. Like,
Bro,
you
we
have to
just
have-
lived through freaking COVID.
What?
Look what they did in
holy
Australia.
crap.
No, what's so
dude.
disheartening about that too is that it's not like the people who are doing that think that they're evil. They genuinely think they're doing the right of it. That's the scary part. That's
Like,
the scary
I
part,
want to
is like-
jump on that. I want to
like-
jump
like-
on that right now, Royce.
Yeah,
but
don't
I'm
go
just
for it.
gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna jump on this super chat first, which is we are Harbinger for $2 says they want Dubai just globally. I don't know enough about Dubai to to mention about it, but there is some interesting stuff.
I've
going
heard
on.
you don't eat the street food in Dubai.
Royce, what were you saying just before? Because I was going to talk about something, and now I've forgotten because I'm brain dead.
Oh crap! No,
something about herd mentality.
Herd mentality. Herd mentality is these people, is the people who, like you were talking about, that the Nazi soldiers would drag pregnant women out and shoot them. They don't even realize they have no frame of reference to realize they're even on the bad side. They just think that this is what good humans do, and I have to do this to be a good human, to be a part of the herd. But
not only that, Royce, not only that, let me jump on this because this amazes me, right? There are so many people who are so confident in what they know when they actually know nothing about it. And I think the best example of this is actually climate change. Like, there are so many people will just go off their nutter at other people about climate change, and they have not researched a single thing on the subject, and they will lose their crap. Like, everyone knows that climate change, you would have to be a complete brain dead doorknob licking moron to not accept climate change is happening. And I'm like, have you researched anything on this subject?
No. You know what I asked them? You know what I asked them?
Can I make this a little more fundamental? Hold on, Royce, you've been talking about.
Can I just elaborate? Because
that's what
the
I
climate
normally
change
do,
one,
Mike.
Like, I've talked to climatologists. I've talked to climatologists on this topic, right? And I've actually looked at some of this research papers and stuff like that. And climate change happens, but the question is man-made climate change going to cause the apocalypse? That's what people believe. And it's like, a climatologist flat out told me, he says, all this stuff, they're arguing over a change in a couple of degrees in average global temperature. That's what it
in like 100 years from now.
Like, that's, and if the global temperature
you could forecast that, you can't forecast the weather tomorrow, and you're going to tell me what it's going to be 100 years from now.
Based off of geological ice core samples, we know that the Mesozoic era had 4 times the amount of carbon, or 4.5 times the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, parts per million. And we also happen to know that we were, 5 degrees Celsius hotter on the scale. And it was the most fruitful time that life has ever developed on this planet. And we know that through their studies, their science, the way that they want to do that stuff. And it's through geological ice core samples. They claim.
But the greater point.
No, but just use their shit against them.
I know.
That's the best way to do it. Just like, here's your science. Here's what you believe. This is what it says. Why don't you believe it? What are you, a climate denier? You don't believe your own fucking science? You catastrophically...
Sorry, Royce.
I just
wanted to see what happens.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
No, he was on a roll. I totally.
You had a super chat, I believe.
I did. We need to grab this.
I want to make that point.
Did you cut me off before I called them catastrophically gay sons of bitches?
I don't know. I think I did. Art Gaines for $5 says, not really a victory. Victory would be movies that shame women for not being married and working outside of the home. It's a win. It's we're seeing some wins.
Yeah, you don't have to win the war, but you have to win the battles. And this is fundamentally the whole idea that we were talking about, how you could convince your normal, average, everyday sheeple person to shoot a girl in the back of the head, right? This kind of thing. This is because they accept what their culture is telling them at the time. And it's very fungible. Look how fast we've changed in the last 10 years on a lot of cultural issues. And that is why it's so bloody important to fight the culture war, like in a real way. We've got to fight to maintain the culture, or to fight to regress the culture back to something rational, where, we're not just constantly denying truth, basic fundamental truth about the world, about the human race, about what works and what doesn't. And that's what this all is. It's all a lie. It's all, I use the word demonic because it's God is truth. When you're forcing lies in every aspect, in every facet of life, it is the opposite of God. It is the lie is the demonic. And so, I mean, you could take that as metaphorical if you want, but it's very much, that's what it is. Every inch we move away from the truth, we head more towards that your neighbor knocking on your door and ratting you out to the Gestapo and sending you to the gulag because he doesn't like, something you put in your trash can.
Right.
Which is literally something that happened in the Gulag Archipelago.
And we are harboring out. His super chat actually is directly related to this. And he says, people outsourcing their thinking to the media drives this problem 100%. We're being trained what to think, not how to think, especially statistics. Like unironically, people just let other people do the thinking for them, which opens them up to manipulation and propaganda.
There's a reason public schools, and they should, but they never have, taught critical thinking.
That should be one of the primary things that they are taught, right? Oh my gosh. And just like the climate change thing is interesting because that's one that so many people don't know a single thing about, right? And this is not me saying I'm an expert either. I just wanted to like for instance, right? If people want to talk about a scientific consensus on a topic, okay, there are some examples of real scientific consensus. For instance, smoking being bad for your health, right? Are there like any medical practitioners in the world that contest that truth? Like there's an actual, scientific consensus, right? But when I hear people saying climate change is a big issue, and there are legitimate experts in the field that have studied this for years upon years, coming out and saying, no. And multiple of them, right? Or it's like, all right, if you want to say, even rely on the, the knowledge of experts, why are you ignoring all these experts over there? I'm just trying to pay attention to what people are saying. And this is the same stuff with the COVID stuff as well, by the way. It's like, all right, if you want a scientific consensus in the medical field, why are there like practiced medical practitioners saying, oh, this treatment actually is effective against it, right? Because if we're paying attention to the experts, why are we ignoring certain experts? It's just a matter of paying attention to everyone, okay? And then you have to weigh it up for yourself and do your best, right? And because ultimately, I can't devote a lifetime to studying climate change. I just am going to pay attention to what everyone says. And what's really troubling is when instead of engaging with the argument that one side is saying, they just get shut down and censored and shut up and attacked and vilified for what they're saying. That's a massive red
That's
flag.
how you know it's propaganda.
It's like, okay, if you can't address their argument and engaged with the valid points they're raising, that's showing that you are not knowing what you're talking about. But there's like, don't listen to them. And all I can say is like, they're crazy, they're conspiracy theorists and all that nonsense, right? Hey. This is a clip I want to share. And look, it's a short one.
Well, hold on. Litdev, did you have something to say?
Oh, I just wanted to say that there's a lot of that stuff going around where they every single time we name the truth or talk about how their stuff sucks or how like we should go back to this way of doing things, the old style narrative way of doing things, which is heroes doing good things and good deeds and bad guys losing. It's like they keep doing that argument, giving the argument of, oh, that's going back. You're going backwards. That's so yesterday. Like, okay, well then let's go backwards then.
Yeah.
The 90s, I ironically think the 90s had more critical thinking than we do of the modern day.
Yeah, the 90s was awesome.
Academia was operating better.
Except for the clothes.
Hey, we got all right, how do you pronounce this?
Itadakimasu. Itadakimasu.
You got it, Mike. This is all yours then.
Itadakimasu for $5 says, nothing screams new world order like the term Gen Alpha. Will likely be the most compliant, will not question the narrative or any AI rewrites. Yikes.
Not my kids. My kids are Gen Alpha and they won't fall for any of that shit.
It starts with the parents ultimately. And we need good parents in the world. Teach your kids. Thank you for the super
Teach
chat.
Teach your kids critical thinking.
Yes. We are Harbinger for $5 says, not everyone can be right, but everyone can be wrong. There's a reason when it comes to justice and science. There's a reason, when it comes to you operate initially from needing proof.
Amen.
Okay? Scientific
Mike-
method.
Mike, I was listening to this and I wanted to say.
While you're on the toilet?
No, not while I was on the toilet. I was saying hi to my wife and getting more beer. I'm a drink with crazy. What do you expect me not to have? Anyway, but no, I wanted to say is you were talking about moving in the opposite direction of God, and that's where this deceit and all this stuff comes from, and the discussion of truth. And one of the things and it came out of just a stupid argument, but it was something that I thought of as like, okay, to somebody who doesn't believe in God, how would I, without using the word God, define to them what truth is? And I thought about this for years because the whole point of trying to bring people closer to the light, closer to God, is you kind of have to give them the nuggets, the little things that they can pick up on. And the only and maybe it's not accurate, but the only thing that I can come up with is, okay, if somebody doesn't believe and they want to argue with me, they'll, well, what do you think truth is? I'm like, okay, truth is moving in the opposite direction of malice and deceit in your action, your word, and in your own mind. That is what truth is. It is moving in the opposite direction of malice and deceit. If you are thinking maliciously, if you are acting maliciously, if you're trying to deceive people, that is not the truth. And it is moving away from negativity, and it is moving away from all that. And because I don't think about these conversations, and that's why a lot of people give me shit for it, but I don't think of these conversations in ways of people who agree with me, like you guys here. I think about, if I'm going to talk with somebody, I have to try to put myself in their place. They don't believe in what I believe. They don't know what I know. How do I describe this to them? It's like, okay, so when somebody says, well, everybody lies on the internet a little bit here and there. It's like, no, that's not the truth. The truth is moving away from malice and deceit. Lying is deceit.
Except to me, I think that the truth doesn't move, right? It's the malice and the deceit and the lies and all of that stuff.
And that's why I say that, because we are not the truth.
Subvert. You asked a question.
We are not the truth. So we're moving towards it, right? There is.
Okay. Royce, I'm going to back you up here. Let me jump on this because I think I can help define, because we give Royce a hard time, but then sometimes he actually comes out with some true wisdom. And
shit, I need to drink beer.
Yeah.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
See, what people don't realize, there is
squirrel finds a clock twice a day.
Jordan Peterson talked about this, right? People don't understand the deeper meaning of truth, where they think truth is facts, correct facts. Okay.
And that's why
truth actually needs to lead, people to be truthful. If you have an act or a statement or anything like that that actually causes people to move away from being truthful, what you just did was untrue. Even if you said actual correct facts. I can use facts, right? Correct facts, but leave out certain elements, leave out little bits here and there to give people the complete opposite understanding of what actually happened. Right?
That is exactly what I was thinking of when I came up with that definition.
Okay, but this is the thing. This is
Keep going.
You're coming into what is actually correct, real wisdom here, Royce. Is that I can then also use a fictional story which is not true. There is no facts in it, but I can use that fictional story to convey a very deep truth. Okay. And so truth is far deeper than facts. Okay. And even what you might perceive as lies, they're not actual lies. It's figurative truth. I can use a figurative thing, which is technically not true. It's a lie. But I can use figurative language, right, to convey or to push towards people having a deeper understanding of what is correct. Okay. And that is being truthful. There's a difference between stating a fact and being truthful. And that's the deeper understanding of truth that people don't, a lot of people don't understand.
If you say something and you believe it to be true and you don't have the information and they go, hey, you don't have all the information. Here's the other stuff. We go, oh, I'm sorry. I was just speaking with the knowledge that I had. I wasn't trying to mislead anybody. Thank you for that. And you move on for that's being truthful. You were never trying to mislead anybody. You weren't trying to be
but I think that's a
deceitful.
different. I think there's a difference between what is true and what is truth. Right.
No, God is truth.
Right.
And if you're and that's why I
But
made
see, to me, if you're asking from a non-religious perspective, what does that mean? I say God is truth because truth is objective
Okay.
It is.
reality.
It is objective.
and
But
I
as a
agree
result-
with you.
as
And
a
I
result,
agree
It's
with you.
objective reality.
But
Let
for
me
people
bridge.
who will
Royce,
reject God immediately, the second that you say the word God, they discount you.
Yeah.
That's
Our
what I
goal
just said.
is to bring people towards God.
Okay.
And
Royce, let me jump on this
Okay,
because
go on. Go
in
on.
terms, I believe truth is absolutely objective, and the proof is math. 1 + 1 =
Yes.
2. That's an objective reality. You can't argue against that in my mind. But because truth is objective, right? The things that you do that will influence people towards that objective truth is very important and is related to what your actions being truthful.
I
or
think
not.
that would be defined as good, moving people towards truth.
Yeah.
That's what
because
I
Political
said.
truth.
because
Scientific
guess
truth.
what?
That's
Because
what I
it's not
said.
when-
true,
no,
it's
yeah, you're saying the
good.
same thing. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So this is where Mike is spouting some wisdom that people might go over people's heads
we're-
or not realize.
We're
is
saying
that
the same thing.
no, truth and objective morality are one and the same thing.
Yes.
As
It shows
soon as you have objective
shows you
truth-
Picard,
True.
you know, and your pursuit, your dedicated. You should be dedicated as a Starfleet officer to empirical truth, historical truth, scientific truth, whatever the very principles in which Starfleet is based. And if you cannot understand that, you don't deserve to wear that uniform. Now sit down, shut up, Wesley.
Yeah, right.
So
But no,
I-
like genuinely, people don't realize like truth has an inherent moral component. In actual fact, it is morality. It is where morality derives from. And I've had such great discussions with atheists on this that don't believe in objective morality. And I have a simple question.
I have
and
too.
No, this question has just sparked such great conversations that really makes them think. When they say they don't believe in objective morality, I then ask them, is it moral to be correct? And they always have to pause because most of them believe in objective truth because objective truth is pretty easy to establish in terms of math and especially from the rational mindset. A lot of people believe in objective truth. And then I just ask them, is it moral to be correct?
Mhm.
And we all know it is. And if it's moral to
No,
be correct,
It is not.
it is moral to be correct.
No, it is not.
Don't argue with me on this, Royce. It is
Because-
absolutely moral to be correct.
Well, correct in okay. Correct in what aspect?
Being truthful, of course.
Okay, yeah, okay. So then we're okay. Never mind. Okay, you're not flipping the script or anything.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I agree.
I'm
I
not
agree.
saying.
Nope, sorry.
I'm not saying
I thought-
using facts to mislead people. I'm saying actually.
okay.
Yeah.
No.
But they know.
You and I agree. Yeah, it's 100%.
And so, if it's moral to be correct, that means morality is objective. Because if the truth is objective and it's moral to be correct, you've just found an objective morality right there, and that's the connection.
And that's why because again it was some dumb question my buddy and I were talking about, but it was it was some quote from Assassin's Creed, can't remember it anymore, but it was just one of those stupid arguments that we had, and I was like, dude, I figured it out because he stumped me one day with just some stupid armchair philosophy crap, and I was like, no, and I took that as a challenge, and it took me years, and I was like, how would I phrase this? And I was like, truth is in the opposite direction, and I specifically phrased it that way. So it's a movement, right? You as a person are moving. Truth is in the opposite direction of malice and deceit, because it's really hard for people to define truth, but it's really easy for us to define malice and deceit.
Really,
And
because
so
I find it's
you're-
easier
you're
to
terms are
define.
wrong. It's
as
not-
long as you're
you're
moving
inaccurate.
away from malice and deceit,
The opposite of
you are
malice.
moving closer to the truth.
I get what you're saying.
But it's
Yeah.
wrong.
We don't need to get stuck in the weeds
How am I wrong?
of.
How am I? So God is not the opposite. So moving towards God is not the opposite direction of moving towards Satan.
Moving towards God isn't truth. God is truth. Moving towards God is good.
I just said that. I said moving towards the
If you
truth.
guys are agreeing but using different language.
No, you're
No,
using
Mike's
truth
just trying to
as
prove that
good.
he's smarter,
They're not
and
the
he's
same
not. He's trying to
I-
armchair quarterback. Dude,
Guys,
are you
guys,
telling
No,
me?
because you came up with this thing, so you're so stuck on your words that you don't understand you're using the wrong words.
guys, You don't need to argue this point.
So
You actually
telling
agree.
people to
All right,
stop
I need to mute you.
lying.
I need to
No,
mute
no,
you.
no, no, no.
You're actually not
Telling
arguing
people to stop lying and deceiving people
Is good.
and and that's the point of it.
All right,
So
I
you
know, but it's
agree.
not truth.
Guys.
So
you're
moving
arguing about
away from
semantics
lies
now.
and deceit
Royce,
is not moving
Royce.
towards closer to God?
It's good,
All right.
but God is
All right.
truth.
I love you both. but
Good
you were going to
is
get
moving
muted
towards
soon.
God.
Yeah, so
All right, love you both. You're agreeing. You guys agree. So you're arguing about semantics now. You don't need to continue.
I'm aware.
Okay.
I'm
okay.
aware.
All right. Random commenter for $5 says, growing up, my parents always told me the dirty jokes in kids' media was hidden for the parents to have a laugh when they had to watch it with them.
Yep.
Kind of. Like, you see
I'm
that
not
in the
really sure
original
about that.
Shrek.
I was told about that too. Now,
Yeah.
here's a thing I've seen a pattern of, and I really remember when I was a kid, and we've lost this, but I think we should go back to it. It's kind of like when PG-13 meant something. And this kind of the feel of way back in the 90s, there was like a sect of movies that kind of were okay for kids to watch. Maybe not the best, probably as parents probably wouldn't want your kids to watch it, but they're ultimately okay. But when it's like a weird limbo of when you're a kid, you watch these movies, you feel like you're getting away with it, like a Monster Squad. Have you ever seen Monster Squad? Like it's kind of okay for kids to watch it, but it's a little bit more edgy, little bit more like on the edgy side, and it's kind of like one of those kind of movies, 80s and 90s, where a kid could watch it and they feel like they're getting away with something. Like, I'm not supposed to watch this, but I am.
I mean, but certain things go right over kids' heads. I'll give you some examples. I just want to grab this super chat. Random commenter for $2 says, "Oh, I'm 30 minutes behind. Whoops, ×2 speed." Hell yeah, man. Come up to the where we are in the conversation. So what Lit Dev is saying, a lot. Like, all right, my favorite film, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I love that film.
Kevin Costner?
Watch it as a kid. Right? There is a scene, unironically, where the sheriff of Nottingham starts to try to, abuse Maid Marian, like force himself on her. Okay. As a kid, I had never understood what he was trying to do. It's like, oh, I was trying to wrestle her to the ground. Like I was so innocent. I did not know what he was actually attempting. And even when the witch grabs her and says she will give us a child, you must take her now. I was like, I had no idea what that meant. I just loved the film as a kid, right? Kids are innocent. But adults will certainly know about that. Shrek is another example. Like, do you remember when Lord, the guy's
Lord
name,
Farquhar.
I can barely say his name now because I know what it's actually meaning, right? As a kid, whoosh.
Yeah, that was good. Shrek is great because it does fit that line between I'm a kid, I'm watching this, I feel like I'm getting away with something, because it does have like raunchy stuff that kids could get, but it has a little bit of stuff in there that they probably won't also.
Well, I mean, when he's in bed and is getting the mirror to keep showing him the princesses, and he looks underneath his covers,
like, oh.
right? like, there's a lot of actual stuff like that in Shrek.
At that point, it's like more like Lord Hardquad, you know what I mean?
You're right. Like, kids completely over there, but it's there. There's another one when in Shrek where Robin Hood is singing and he does it just to get, and he goes, just to get, and he says head, and it's like,
Oh, shit.
like there's some very, yeah.
Has anyone ever seen Lord Farquaad and the Emperor of Mankind in the same room? They kind of look exactly alike.
I have not.
You would never figure it out either, because the Emperor of Mankind is this giant thing of armor. The same hairstyle.
That's a good question. So, in terms of some of the wins we are having, right? Do you think we're actually winning overall as a result, like the title of the stream is suggesting? I think we've won some because this leads to, I said, a more complex discussion where I see the activists, the people on the extreme woke side, not changing. They're just getting more desperate and doubling down and going further. And we see that in Australia with this misinformation censorship bill that the Prime Minister is trying to push. It's the most extreme, insane attack on freedom that's ever happened in Australia. Okay. And so I just see one side actually going more extreme because they're seeing some of these battles that they're losing. We are Harbinger for $2 says heresy. I actually don't know exactly what that's referring to.
It's probably the Farquaad comment.
Oh, possibly. So that's why, the war is not won, but we have had some really important kind of victories recently, like, Concord. It's completely dying, like failing. Same with Dustborn. We have the more recent stuff with what's come out about Inside Out 2. Space Marines 2 is doing really well. And it's just this, old school masculine kind of shooter thing that is also seemingly triggering some people because it's just a guy's video game, basically.
Because Warhammer 40K it's a testosterone fest, and we kept Space Marine 2. It's a testosterone fest, and lo and behold, it sells pretty well, and people love it.
Well,
so weird.
One of my favorite reviews of Space Marines 2 is Legendary Drops, and he was a very small channel a year ago. He's skyrocketing, and he was like, man, after playing Space Marines 2, he's like, I feel like I have been in a drought. And he's like, this game is doing masculinity. And he's like, I feel like these are topics that they wouldn't cover. Most of these people wouldn't cover in modern video games. He's like, it's, for honor, for brotherhood, for the emperor. And it's just, he's like, dude, and he's like, it's not the greatest video game on the planet. He's like, but it is good fun and touching on all this stuff. And dude, it's just such a great... Dude, Legendary Drops did such a great... And the reason, actually, where a lot of the controversy come up is because Asmongold watched the video, and Asmongold agreed with a lot of it. But Legendary Drops, dude, I'm subscribed to him now because I actually found him from Asmongold, not because of the most recent video, but because of a few videos back. But, dude, he is so right. We are in a drought of video games that are just masculinity, for brotherhood, for honor, for... And guess what? It takes 7 to 8 hours to complete the campaign. You do co-op with your buddies and have a good time. And guess what? It's not going to win Game of the Year, but it's fun.
It's doing well.
It
looks fun. It looks fun.
A lot of that.
I'm playing it with my buddies. As soon as I have the money to do it, I'm downloading it on my computer, and I hope my computer can run it. We've all been looking at specs because we've heard that if your computer's not spec'd right, it's gonna overtax your stuff. But dude, it looks, dude, it's Gears of War. It's Gears of War. It's.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Gears of War and Space Marine 2, Paul Tassi, the guy who just blew Acolyte the entire series. Like, oh, Acolyte's so amazing, Acolyte's so great. He put out a review on Space Marine 2 where he's like, did anyone notice how much Space Marine 2 stole from Gears of War? It was so weird. I was like, bro.
The only
Warhammer 40K. It's been like what, 20 years or something? More than that?
Oh, dude, way more than that.
Yeah, it's a third-person shooter. Oh yeah, it stole from.
Right. Go for Broke for 199 says, "Hello all. Have any of you read The Last Unicorn? I think I've seen the film. Is there a film on it?
Yeah, that's the film.
Cartoon, yeah.
I saw that a long time ago.
I have not even heard of that.
Okay. I don't remember much of it, unfortunately. Thank you for the super chat. And We Are Harbinger for $5 says, people like cool stuff. Purge the heretics for the Emperor. Has the same energy of Deus Vult. Take back the Holy Lands.
It kind of does, actually.
It's so...
I miss the Inquisition.
I've been watching. I also miss the Inquisition. I agree, Mike. No, like
guys, research the Inquisition. The actual Inquisition was not good.
Hold on.
They're
Stop.
just trying to get rid of the Jews and the Muslims. Relax.
Mike, come on.
It kept.
Hey, if it wasn't for the Inquisition, there would be no America.
Too many people afraid. However, no, dude, Space Marines 2. So I've been watching gameplay on this because I just, again, tight budget. I want to play this thing, and even my wife was like, should I buy it for? I'm like, no, we have other stuff to like pay. We've got other stuff to do, dude. Space Marines 2 is, and I have heard this from several reviewers, and they say this. They say this unironically and just glowingly. They're like, this takes you back to that 360 era of gaming, when gaming was just fun. It was you and the boys. It was just the graph. It didn't matter if the graphics were the best thing on the planet. It just mattered if it was fun. You could play it and have a good time. And supposedly now there's a big controversy because they can't figure out whether or not the CEO of the I can't remember the name of the company that produced Space Marines, commented on Asmon's Gold videos, but basically like it was supposedly this comment that may or may not be the CEO said, we just wanted to do something that was fun for people to play without without all of the modern day messaging.
And this is where he says that right here. Well,
oh, you found okay, yeah.
Yeah, because you shared this, Royce, and so let's read it out. Grums reports that woke devs and press go after Saber Interactive CEO for his alleged Space Marine 2 comments. They want him cancelled for making a game free from pandering narratives. They want him cancelled for that. Like, isn't that what the baseline should be for like making a product people like? Yep. They are literally witch hunting him now, trying to find out if he said what he said. If they keep this up, sales will go through the roof.
Yeah, they're the best salesmen. They're gonna triple their sales. It's kind of like the Satanic Panic during the D&D era, where D&D was doing fine until the Satanic Panic, and then sales skyrocketed. So yeah.
I will say this though.
Can we talk about the D&D Satanic Panic thing? Because that was such
how hilarious it was.
Dude, I was not allowed. We weren't allowed to read Harry Potter. How about the Harry Potter Satanic Panic thing? Like,
right.
That was real, dude. That was real.
I was not allowed to read Harry Potter, and dude, my mom's face turned sheet white when she found out that my brother took me to a Harry Potter movie, the first Harry Potter movie.
Hold on. Can I put a hard pause on that real quick? Because everyone thought all the Christians were so crazy about the Harry Potter thing. Ask any witch or Satanist or anything who grew up in that time period if they read Harry Potter as a kid. I guarantee
causation. It's a correlation, not causation.
It's correlation.
I mean, it's like
have you talked
what Hitler liked dogs?
Have you talked to witches or Satanists before the Harry Potter thing?
Yeah, they probably read freaking Interview with the Vampires. You know,
like because I actually have talked with Satanists and witches and all of them.
Cult media changes culture. I know it's like most of the people aren't going to be affected by it. But some are and were, and
those are mentally disabled people, and we need to bring back insane asylums.
When we're
Can we just bring back
fighting
insane
the culture
asylums?
war, saying that this media does make a difference? You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth.
Well, Harry Potter's not making people witches.
It did
and stuff. No, that people would have already been doing it, and then they just kind of double.
No. Hold on. Now I get to play the in between you guys.
When you implant the heroism of witchcraft into idealistic children, they grow up and they head in that direction. Not all of them, but don't tell me.
And that is because of
the freaking war we're fighting. Don't ignore it because it was.
That is because of parents that weren't there. No.
Okay.
I will say this. Mike is right to a certain degree because there are certain parents who would not put a check on the wild imaginations of their children. And that is what led to that. Now, there are again, like my parents, my dad was one of those guys that was like, hey, you know this is fiction, right? I'm like, yeah. Because mom was like, no, we can't do it. And my dad was a little bit hard. He was like, shut up. I'm talking with the boy. Like, I'm not even fucking kidding you. Like, that was very close to what my dad said. And he was like, look, you know this is not real, right? You know this is fiction, right? Yeah. He goes, you know what we believe in this family, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, it's all fake. I'm like, yes. He's like, okay, you can watch the movies. If you ever start to act on any of this dumb stuff, my dad's like, I've been to jail before. He's like, 10 to 1, I probably know most of the guys there. I'll put you in the ground and I'll go back. I don't care. And I was genuinely afraid of my father.
All right, let me jump on because Royce, I think you got you're right. And to give Mike
dad is the beginning of wisdom.
To give Mike a bone.
my dad was rough, dude. All right. My dad was rough. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm like, oh shit.
To give Mike some credit, it's like, look, kids who watch Harry Potter.
Why did you mute him and not me? I want to be muted too.
He muted himself. I didn't.
I muted myself.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Give me some credit, man. Yeah, right. I
just want to be a part of the cool kids. That's
you do. I do think there are some kids who would have watched Harry Potter and then as a result want to be a witch. And then, I want to, but that's just them playing. But then if the parents don't jump on it, it can go further than looking into Wiccan and other stupid stuff. And all their parents need to do is say, hey, this is fantasy. Okay. It's magic. It's not real. Stop going down that any things. Because things can take like people want to like there's a group of people who unironically believe in the Force from watching Star Wars too much. Like unironically, like you know,
Yeah,
in the
there
Australian,
isn't a real religion in this world.
there is a real
Oh,
religion
shit, I heard
where
about
the
that.
Force,
Yeah.
we use the
yes,
Force.
and so that is
Oh
giving
my God.
that is giving Mike
I
credit
forgot
to
about
what he's
that.
saying that there are people that can absolutely take stuff too far. I agree with that. Okay, but the way that you stop it is by good parenting, and I think like Star Wars is ultimately harmless if you you know, just keep an eye on your kids. Same with Harry Potter and stuff.
I just want to I unironically, I just want to be able to purchase Space Marines 2. Make sure that it's a good game, and then whichever one of my kids wants to play it with me, we go hard on that, like Halo 2. Like I would I have let my kids play Halo 2 with me, and I just want, because dude, Space Marines, it looks so freaking good. I just want a game like that, and it seems to have, outside of a couple of DEI elements, they're very small and they're kind of put off to the side of the story. I've seen enough of it. They are there, but they're not much. And but yeah, I want to be able to play this with my kids. That's what I want. I want good media to play with my kids.
Yeah, we want good
That's
media.
That's it. I've had enough good media in my life. I don't need more. My kids, on the other hand, I want to find stuff that I can enjoy with them.
Hey,
That's
Royce,
my goal.
You got a super chat.
All right. What kind of voice should I do? Is there a voice? Do I need a voice?
No, this is just because the super chat came out while you were talking. I don't think it's addressing talking.
Alexander M for $5. That word makes me laugh. Sorry. I was gonna be all serious. Watch Femtoads. Sorry, that word Femtoads makes me laugh.
You can get through it. You can get through it, Royce.
No,
I
I
believe
can't
in
make
you.
it through it. Tithes scene is hysterical, but we should keep our toes. GW is absolutely comprised by Black Rock.
Can I make a point
Compromise,
before
yeah.
anybody jumps in?
GW, what's GW?
Games Workshop. They're the people who make Warhammer 40K.
Oh yeah, no,
the
that's which is
reaction-
so funny too.
Okay, hold on, Royce. I'm trying to make a point. So the reaction you guys
Make a
had
good one this time.
that about Harry Potter, that's the same way I was when Harry Potter came out. I was like, this is nothing. Nobody's gonna be blah 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 blah. I'm having this reaction now because of the people I know now who delved deeply into that stuff, who did it because they read Harry Potter way back when I said this wouldn't affect anybody. So this is a very real world reaction that, you know,
Well,
if you guys haven't met these people and asked them, and how did this all start? It all started with Harry Potter.
well,
It's very just the past few years where I've made
the
this switch.
real
Where I'm like,
world
holy crap,
reaction should be
I was wrong.
that
this is the
every
thing.
piece of media is going to affect somebody.
No,
Like
the
Space
ultimate
Marines
answer to this.
2 might affect young men today to become Marines tomorrow. And it might also affect young men to be anti-Marine tomorrow. It's going to affect somebody. Were the majority of people who read Harry Potter affected by that? Is that the reason that all of this is? No, I think I don't think Harry Potter is that. Did it affect some people? Yes.
This is the reason, right? Unstable people can use anything to justify bad behavior or going to extreme. And the best example of this is, you need to look at the intent behind the work. Look at the Bible. People have used the Bible to justify some really bad stuff, okay? And there are people that can latch on to certain little phrases and take it way too far. But that's not saying the Bible is a sacred work that is divine in origin, right? And I absolutely believe in its truthfulness, okay? Because its intent is absolutely needed to be understood, and the overall context. And so just because people can latch onto something and use it to influence them in a bad direction doesn't invalidate the purpose of the work. What is the purpose of the work? If the work is ultimately understood in context is to make people, you know, to come closer to God, or to just entertain,
I'm not saying
like
it's
Harry
invalid.
Potter.
Shad, I'm not saying it's invalid, and I'm not even saying, Royce, your perspective is wrong. I'm saying that it's like, if you knew, like, my niece was like so into Harry Potter. She didn't go bad, thankfully, but a lot of these kids, it's like literature is so powerful And when you have a character in a series that as a adolescent you start identifying with so much, it is I mean, powerful is just not even big enough of a word. It is such an influence on people. And again, it's like when you look back at the people and you say, oh man, I was going through this really hard time and I picked up their Harry Potter books and I was so much of that. And it's like they end up being Wiccans and sacrificing cats and eating cats with Haitians. I don't know.
I mean, I'm okay with eating cats with Haitians, dude. Have you tasted their barbecue? You don't.
All right. Thanks, Royce. We appreciate it. Cats and barbecue. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, Royce.
Why not?
But speaking of rabbit holes, we've got Buddy Rabbit for $5 says Satanists and cultists also read their Tanakh. I don't know. Tanakh. The Greek and the Greek epistles.
Tanakh is the Old Testament.
I don't think you're not making the point you think you're making. I think that's just related to what I was kind of saying before. Is that people can use nearly
can we even trust Buddy Rabbit? He
to...
was the one saying that stupid shit last week.
I can't remember last week. So Buddy Rabbit says again for $2 says they also probably watched the Prince of Egypt.
Well, it's not the vast majority of people, but it's
people,
like
people can
his
use
Royce's dad was right. Make sure your kids are in a place where they understand this isn't the road you want to go down. But
and exactly, it's up to the parents and also understanding the greater context and the purpose behind the work and stuff like. Because people can use nearly anything. I won't say any, but nearly anything to justify whatever behavior they want. They've done it with the Bible. They'll do it with multiple texts, and they go back again and again, subverting the actual intent behind it. Harry Potter. It was never meant to make people Wiccan. It was made to entertain. That's the purpose behind it.
Let's use the 90s. Mortal Kombat was causing kids to be violent, right? Mm-hmm. Like everybody remembers that. I'm old enough to remember that. I'm barely old enough to remember that, but I remember that. Mm-hmm. And it was like, no, it was bad parents. I remember watching a panel of the original Power Rangers a few years ago, a couple years back. And they were like, man, one of the controversies when the Power Rangers became popular, and this is the original panel, they were like, oh, yeah, oh, no, these kids were acting as the Power Rangers, and they beat the crap this other kid. And one of the original Power Rangers was like, and I think it was, I think, don't quote me on this, I believe it was Austin St. John, who was Jason, who was like, yeah, that wasn't us that let your kids beat them up. That was the parents. How about you just be good parents? I heard one of the Power Rangers, I was like, yes. Like, that's what it is.
Yep.
It's like, just, if I don't, kids, I'm sorry, kids who are on their phones at restaurants not paying attention to the people are the same brats that Mike is talking about turning into Wiccans. It's because their parents don't pop them upside the head and say, hey, grandma's at the table. You put the fucking phone down and you pay attention to the family while we're at the table. I'm sorry. That's the truth. If parents don't be parents...
no phones at the dinner table.
If parents will not be parents, children will always be children, no matter how old they are. I am not a parent because I am raising children. I am a parent because I am raising adults. You don't go to a lumber raising. You go to a barn raising. You are there for the final result.
Hell yes, 100%. We are Harbringer for $5 says... Harry Potter was okay, but every woke idiot these days keeps talking about it. Seems to be the only books they've ever read. That's the problem. They're NPCs. There are a lot better stories than Harry Potter. But look, the books are better than the show, the movies, but there are much better fantasies than Harry Potter.
The funniest thing about Harry Potter was the fact that they all worshipped J.K. Rowling. All the lefties, all the they all worshipped J.K. Rowling for years. She was the Messiah. Yep. And now she's the one who
she's the devil. She's Hitler reincarnated.
Dude, and that she only was disagrees with them on Harry Potter. Thing. She loves everything else they love, and she only disagrees on one thing.
On like 1% of the issues.
Yeah. I know. She's a woke far leftist, right?
Dude,
but it's
one
turf.
It bothers me so bad to hear people who are on our side of the aisle praise that woman.
Well, I mean,
but I want to say the particular about Harry Potter versus like most of these other books, right? Is that it's an adolescent child that you're growing up with. So that's
can-
why it's
that's
peculiar
influential.
to that space, right? Why it's
Yeah.
so influential to all
Yeah.
these people who ended up being crazy leftists.
Race de Madrid. I don't know how to say that. Sorry, I'm retarded. For $5 says, in basic training, plenty of guys wanted to put Jedi as their religion on their dog tags. That was before Disney Plus Star Wars. Yeah, I mean,
Oh
It's
yeah.
Reyes
that's
de
been
Madrid.
around. Thank you for the super chat. We are Harbinger for $20. Says, more on literature. My favorite fictional series is The Sword of Truth by Terry Goodkind. I've heard of it. No offense,
Oh
Chad.
no, they made a Legend of the Seeker was based off of Sword of Truth. It was they only ran 2 seasons. It was a fantastic television show.
I couldn't get into it. I know this. I tried to watch it.
You can't get into anything that normal people like, Shad. That's a you problem, not
Finish
a
the
people
super
problem.
chat.
I didn't realize until years later that the 6th book is basically how much communism sucks, especially as a religion.
Okay, the
I
Sword
love
of
it.
Truth. Pulling that up now. I did not know that. We're gonna pull up the Sword of Truth series.
I've honestly heard mixed reviews on the Sword of Truth, and the author. Some of the comments he's made that I've come across my radar seems like look. I'm going to stop there because I should probably do more research than just commenting on, random
Is he gay?
things.
Did he come out as
No.
gay?
He's just made disparaging remarks about other authors and fantasies and built up his work a bit too much. And I don't know enough to really comment. That's just things that are across my radar. John Unterzuber. What is that? Someone say it.
Unterzuber.
You're good at this, Mike. For $2 says, goal of the panic was to remove Zions.
Christians.
Zions.
What is that one of those?
It's Christians.
Then just spell it.
I know,
Do you
right?
not know the rest of the letters of the alphabet? What is his name?
I don't
What
know.
was his
I'm
name
bad at
again? No,
pronouncing things.
that's right. Dude, there are more letters on your
Thanks, John.
keyboard than an X. You can use more letters. It's fine. It's
What is
not
$2
a
super chat?
problem.
I ran out of letters.
Yeah, super chats have letter limits.
There's probably a $2 one. So you have like 50 characters you could use.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen.
He says, I'm too
That's
cheap
right.
to spell
I'm
it.
sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. YouTube limited yours. I'm sorry. That's my bad. I forgot about that. I haven't been super chatted in so long because I moved my live streams to a non-super chatted channel.
We are Harbinger. $5 says, and this is him talking about the Sword of Truth. I believe the series is good, much better than the TV show, which I also did like. Well casted for starters.
No, I'll have to pick that up and check it out.
Dude, I really like the TV show. I really did. Drakenral is one of my favorite villains of all time. And the fact that they showed some of the stuff that he did on primetime television, I was like, wait, what? There is a specific scene early on where this person is like, oh, Raul, I'm sorry, I didn't. He's like, no. And he comes across as this sweet darling. And he's like, he's a good looking dude too. And but he shakes his head. He goes, "Oh, it's okay." He goes, "Oh, it's okay." He's like, "It's totally fine." And he slits this person's wrist as he's shaking their hand, and you watch it happen on primetime television. And he literally grabs this cup and bleeds their blood into and you're like, "Oh my God!" One of my favorite villains. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like that is villainous to come across caring and kind and it's okay, and then I was like holy crap, fantastic villain. And that's from this Sword of Truth series. It was in the Legend of the
another show. I'm trying to remember what it
Legend of the Seeker was the show.
Yeah, I've seen some of it.
I haven't seen Legends, but I've seen that. Like he just grabs them and slices them. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was so good. So I love. Villainy is something that the modern day media does not do well very often.
They do it horribly, but that is kicking off to another subject, and it's time to wrap up. So we're gonna have to cut short.
You just want to silence me, Shad. That's all you want to do. That was this whole ploy. Oh, we just want to silence.
We could have got into a lot more subjects if Royce would have just toned it down a little bit.
Prophecy there, Royce. If you really want to believe that's the case, Your wish is
Fulfilling
granted,
prophecy.
sir. So
Royce, you
I
took
know-
all of Lit Dev's talking time.
we're sorry, Lit Dev, but your input is always very much appreciated. We love you. No, this has been a hell of a lot of fun.
This
is
has
what
been
the
a
stream
wild
is.
stream.
We just get to talk about everything. Really, it's been wild. It's been great, and the conversation has been good. You know, there's been disagreements, but guess what? People can disagree and still get along.
Hey,
Mike
Royce
and I
has
fight all
every
the
right
time.
to be wrong.
Mike
Yeah.
and I, no. You and I are agreeing on the
It's a
same
free
thing.
country. So
You
can
just want
free to be
You're
wrong.
just like, oh, I'm old. No,
Words
I have to
have
prove
meaning,
that
my
I'm more
friend.
wise than a 30-year-old. That's all Mike's
Words
trying to
have
do.
meaning.
Hey,
man.
we are Harbringer. Don't start, guys. We are Harbringer for $2. Says, wait till you find out what he does in the books. I've heard it gets
All
dark.
right.
So
Royce, I can literally
time,
be your father. That's how old I am.
time to
What year were you born?
wrap it up.
71.
You can't. No. My dad was born in '64. You couldn't be.
You're
born.
not
No.
71, Mike.
No. He said he was born in
1971.
'71. He was
Oh,
born
I'm
in
53.
1970. My dad was
I
born
was
in
gonna say,
'64.
holy crap.
My
I
dad
don't
was
mean
born-
I was born the same year as your
I
father.
know
I'm
you-
saying
yeah.
biologically I could be your father in
I
age.
know you, Mike. I know
How
your
early
Asian
were you
genes
getting it
prevents
on? What are you trying to
aging.
be like? Oh,
Wait,
I'm
how old are you?
I'm 32.
53.
All right, maybe fair.
All right, gentlemen, we are wrapping it up. Mike,
I was just
Tell
fucking
us-
with you.
tell us where you're from.
Who, me?
Yeah, it's outros.
I'm from
we're
San
signing.
Diego, California. If you want to come visit
Gay.
me, don't. Blacklist Universe is my channel. I've been doing a lot of great redesigns on Concord characters, and I even did one of Ultimate Batman, whatever, the Absolute Batman, which we were going to talk about
We
tonight.
were going to
but
talk about.
but freaking Royce won't shut up. So it is what it is.
Be better.
That's just how the game is played. You just gotta fight Royce more.
Dude, Shad didn't shut me up. I swear he was going to shut me up at least 12 more times than he actually did.
So, where you from, Lit Dev?
I'm over here on YouTube. It's debunking nonsense and going over all this narrative stuff that the mainstream keep pushing. And they say, "What? I prove to you that you're not actually bigots and that the mainstream just sucks." A lot of fun.
It's great stuff. Great stuff. So, guys, genuinely check out all of their channels, Lit Dev, but maybe not A Drink with Crazy. His no, Royce, tell us about your stuff.
Hey guys, I am A Drink with Crazy over on YouTube. You can find me over there. I've been asking my chat for anime recommendations lately, and then they tell me what to watch, and I watch them. And then I also share my thoughts on just anything that I feel like, and I also piss people off because apparently I walk the fine line of a fence sitter, you fucking pricks. Not a fence sitter, I just believe in what I believe in. Anyway, check out my videos. And yeah, get a new perspective on some things. That's anime, because my chat's turning me into a weeb. I hate my chat. I fucking hate them. They're so
Have you
terrible.
read Berserk?
No, but I know about Berserk, and that
I'll
story
get
is
this
so
super chat.
wild, dude.
You got it,
Wild.
Mike.
Buddy Rabbit for $5 says Kirby's fat roll varicose art gave me nightmares, Mike. I regret mentioning the varicose. So last week's Drawn and Quartered, Buddy Rabbit made an appearance and suggested some varicose veins on this character that this guy Kirby was drawing, and it was accurate.
I need to go watch this.
Drawn and Quartered on Mike's channel is a underrated live stream. People should check it
Oh,
out.
thank
You
you.
get some very talented artists on board drawing some really cool stuff.
Mate,
So,
Yeah, I'll
Shad-
if you want me to drop you a link next time, Shad, let me know.
if I'm
No, I know you've
available,
been
it's
busy,
always
so-
time.
May I, if it's not
You know,
cool?
sorry. What I'm interested, just if I do join the next Drawn and Quartered, Mike, what I would probably do while you guys are drawing is make an AI art of the same subject at the same time.
That would be fun. No,
We could do a bit of a competition. You know,
can AI do it before a real artist
Yeah.
can? That's
Yeah,
not
you
a
could do
bad.
about 40 or 50 of them in the time.
well,
no,
they'll be
but they have to be
refining. I'll-
good.
Yeah,
Hey.
and I take time on my AI art, and I do go through multiple processes, and to make a good finished piece for me, it takes a couple of hours still.
Shad, I asked you about this, and you were like, "Hey, yeah, we should do this more." And I know we were talking about it before you go watch Drawn and Quartered on Wednesdays when it happens at 9 p.m. Central. I go live at 7 p.m. Central, and we do a shout out stream for a bunch of indie creators who are doing independent comic books, independent movies, independent games, independent tabletop. And it's basically like a window shopping stream. These indie guys aren't in Walmart or Target, and you're not going to find them out there. But if you are interested in people who absolutely believe in the tenets of like the Iron Age, come check out A Drink with Crazy live and hang out with us while we're shouting out some, maybe you guys might find your new favorite. And I have absolutely found out quite a few new favorites. And actually, I just got this one in this last week. Pistol Shrimp! Found this on Pistol Shrimp is one. Found this on my live stream that was submitted. It would be really cool if you guys are interested in finding some new indie creators. We go live and you can watch us, and then you can go over hang out with Mike and Shad when they do their thing. It's great. It's awesome.
It's time. If I'm sure.
No, but you said it, so you got to do it now.
Yeah,
You said
yeah,
so you
it
gotta
would
do
be
it
fun.
now. It's
What were you
wait,
saying,
are you not
Lucas?
going to do it? Wait, were you lying to us, Shad?
So we love your voice.
See, that would be moving away from truth.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say it, and he cut me off. Why did you give it to Mike? He's my mortal enemy.
Which is the opposite of good.
Hey, Lit Dev was about to say something. Shut up, Lit Dev. What were you going to say?
I wasn't going to say anything. I was
Okay.
laughing because of the amusing situation.
People should check out Lit Dev's live stream, Morning Nonsense, which is also great stuff.
thank you very
All
much.
you guys make great content, so I do want people to go check it out. This live stream was a lot of fun. We are all idiots, yet we actually did touch on some actual wisdom in some of this stream that I appreciated. That was like, you know, might out us as these guys
I drink beer.
maybe not being as stupid as we pretend.
No,
I mean, on Morning Nonsense, we actually will go over Absolute Batman. So,
Oh, check out Absolute Batman conversation on Morning Nonsense with Lit Dev.
I will say this. I watch specifically on Fridays because it's his weeb day, and I'm trying to learn, and so I listen to Lit Dev on Friday mornings because I'm trying to learn more about the weebs because they want me to become one of them. And I hate to say that I've learned a lot.
Weebs are white folks who are trying to be Japanese, right?
essentially, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I
West
just know
Taboo
that
is
it's
the
called.
opposite.
I just know that it's called Weeb Day Friday, and I listen to him on Fridays because I'm trying to learn. Like legit, it's a thing. Lit Dev. I'm like, oh, I need to learn about the weebs. What does Lit Dev say? And I just listen to you guys.
Learn about the weebs.
Check it out, everyone. There's great content there. Appreciate the chat for joining us, everyone joining us. We will see you next time. And as always, stay on watch.